Yo, I see that you guys have stayed out of that collateral damage, and welcome back to the Crash Course Metal Show. We are doing another installment of the Forgotten Albums series, and today is going to be the newest or most recent year in our series here, and that is going to be the year 2008. So I have three albums for you guys that just did not get much praise, or just did not get looked at enough, or just simply forgotten over time. So, let us go to the first one here, and that is going to be Johnny Burning. Get up, get loose, get off. So this one here is going to be the newest band out of the three bands here that we have for you. And like I said, we like to talk about the second wave or the renaissance of hair metal, second wave of sleaze metal, if you will, from the very late to early 2000s up until about the 2010s, give or take. And Johnny Burton falls right into that. So, like I said, this is 2008. This is their only album, as far as I know. So, I remember seeing this or hearing one of the songs off of this album, the final song actually. Turn it down just to leave it. If anyone remembers, like the app, like in 2008 ish, around that time, Last FM. I forget who bought them out, but someone bought them out like the last couple years or 10 years or so. But I remember listening to that, and I heard a good mixture of like old school stuff, hair metal stuff, and then also like the new stuff, like Dirty Penny, Crash Diet, Johnny Burning, and just different bands like that as well. Reckless Love, even. Uh, and I heard the song, and I was never able to get a copy of this until probably about 5, 10 years ago, maybe. And I'm super glad I did, because I have always been looking for this album. And because also, too, these guys are from Italy. This is an Italian band. You don't hear that too much as far as the hair metal goes, as far as Italian bands are concerned. But yeah, it's just a shame, because this band is absolutely awesome. And like I always say all the time, these bands in the second wave of sleaze metal during the Renaissance, there was a lot of bands that could only do one or two albums. And just like our previous song of the week was Midnight Eve, and they only did one EP, like, because there was just no support for it. The OG bands were doing fine. They were coming back. That was starting to become cool again, not to be laughed at, or, start to be taken a little seriously again. They just did not get any love from either radio, the record companies, or, just even hair metal fans for that matter. The older people, the older fans from the original era. They didn't really want to hear nothing new. And meanwhile, this album is better than a lot of the original era albums. Like, you could throw them right up there, and it stick right up against any of the original bands. It's just amazing to me how that happens. How people just overlook it or just don't want to hear it, or what have you. So, as far as the track listings go, you have 11 tracks, but there is an intro to the album, so it's technically 10 full tracks. Man, and I have to say, this is a very strong album. You got Wrong Shape, Devil Inside kicks off the first two. Really good, fast-paced rockers. Like, what you're getting in for with this album on those first two tracks. Then you got track number 4, Sassy Lassie Goose. And that sounds, the title kind of gives away what you think the song is going to sound like. It has a little bit of like a groove, a slow mid-tempo groove to it, like really catchy, fun, good shit all the way around. So I will say, you got track number 5 and 6 are a little on the weaker side, I will say. They're still good, but they just don't make my iPod. But you got track 7 here, Burning Miracle, then Next Time to Rock. Good stuff there. Very good. Now you get a ballad here on the 9th track, and that is Shine. Awesome ballad. Awesome ballad. I don't know, like, I could throw this up against any of the 80s power ballads, and it would be just as good. People would like it just as much. Like, there is no weakness just because this is a new band, or them trying to sound like their influences, or bands from the 80s. Like, no, that this is good in its own right. And same for the album, too. And then you got track number 10, Rockin' the USA. Really good stuff there. Very chorusy, just to chant along with. Awesome shit. I mean, and then you got the track here, the last one, the final track. Turn it down just to leave it. That, like I said, this is the song that got me into Johnny Burning. The first song that I heard from, loved it, and it's a mid tempo, and then it speeds up at the very end to send you off. But man, like I can't praise this album enough. Like I hope you guys can find it. But I do have good news for you, even though that they aren't around, at least to my knowledge, because I look up every couple years to see if I see anything new on this band or what have you, and I had not. But I do have good news is that you can find this album on Spotify. So you don't, because I know there's probably only 10 copies left on Earth of this album. And like I said, it took me years to be able to find it. I think I found it on eBay, and I was just so happy because like I said, this was like when I was 15, 16 years old, and I remember this song in particular, but like album though goes. I'm just glad I have it, and it's just awesome. Great rock and roll, great hard rock, great sleaziness to it too. Great hair metal. It fits right in the hair metal genre. They look it as well, but just in the modern version style of it, or modern as in 2008. So very good stuff. I recommend it. So the three tracks I want you to check out is either Rockin' the USA, very good. Let's do Sassy Lassie Goose if you want a little bit of a groove, kind of fun song. And then either Wrong Shape or Devil Inside. Let's do Devil Inside. I like the vocals in that song as well. But yeah, great vocalist, great band all the way around. Good stuff. So check it out, guys. Johnny Burning, get up, get loose, get off. Just wanted to jump in here, guys. If you guys enjoy this content that we're doing here, please like the video, please share it, and then please subscribe. That helps the channel out so much. Just helps everything that we're doing here. And also leave me a comment as well. Always interested to see what you guys had to say. Now let's jump right back into this video. So now coming in here at the second spot, or just not necessarily, these aren't ranked, but just in the number 2 hole here, we have the Choirboys, Homewreckers and Heartbreakers.
Hell yeah.
So now, if you guys have followed the channel or know me for any extended period of time, you know that the Choirboys are one of my favorite rock bands, hair metal bands, what have you. Certainly a top 5 band for me. And Spike is one of my favorite lead vocalists and just rock stars in general. He just absolutely awesome. And as you can see here, this is, I guess you would say, the modern version of the band up until recently. That's a whole nother story, drama type deal, I guess, that we won't really get into here. But let us talk about the album here. This does come out in 2008. This is the third album since they kind of reformed, because you had This Is Rock and Roll, which came out in 2001. And then you also had Well Oiled in 2004, which I do not actually have a copy of that, sadly, but that is high up on the list for me. So you had 12 tracks here. And one of the singles off of this, music video singles as well, was Mona Lisa Smiled, which I remember that. I remember, I don't know if it was around the time it came out, I remember that, or was it might have been a little bit later, because I'd known of the Choirboys. Like I had a little bit of What You Fancy. My dad turned me on to that when I was young, like 12 or 13. And I was never the biggest Rod Stewart guy. Certainly when I was younger, I wasn't. But as I'm getting older, I do enjoy more Rod Stewart. But before that, like a couple years before that, I started enjoying the Choirboys more, because like when I first listened to like a little bit of What You Fancy, like I said, I was like 13 or whatever. I liked about half that album, but as time kept moving on, I was enjoying more and more and more of that album, and ended up being one of my favorite albums of all time. So that leads me back to, I think it was around within the first couple years of Mona Lisa being out, I came across it on YouTube. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't really know that the Choirboys were still like active and doing stuff. So I clicked on it, loved that song right from the start. Really cool melodic shit there. Some people say they kind of compare that song to like an AC/DC style feel, but I don't get that at all. I don't. I was actually really surprised when I read that the other day. I was like, oh, I don't really see that too much. But either way, it's just great bar party rock and roll type deal. But Mona Lisa Smile has a little bit of a more serious tone, if you will, than say, Sex Party or 7 o'clock or something like that off the first album. So the lead off track here is "I Love This Dirty Town." Awesome, awesome. Now this song here has a little bit of an AC/DC kind of feel to it. If you're going to compare any of these songs to AC/DC, but Spike takes control of the room, while you're singing this, and it's just badass. And you're like, yeah, I love this dirty town too. And meanwhile, he's probably talking about some like really horrible, dirty place in England or something, like something like that. And we have those over here in America too. I think of some when I'm thinking of the song, or when I'm listening to the song. I think of a couple places around here that are like that. But you love them just the same, though, as well. Louder, track number 3, awesome. Very good. Not as good as Britney Fox's Louder, but it's right there for me as well. The second track I skipped, but we talked about it a little bit. Mona Lisa Smiled. Then you got also here Backwater. Very nice, like groovy backwater type feeling songs, like back in like a deep, not necessarily a deep swampy feel, but it has that aura to it a little bit, and it's just really cool. One for the road, late night Saturday call, really cool. Kind of ballady, it is on the slower side of things, but you have Spike here doing a very heartfelt vocal here, but with his raspiness of his voice, like it just feels like there's more to it than just sheer emotion coming out. But one of my favorite tracks on here as well. Take a look at yourself is another one of my favorites off here. I like it. Now it is 12 tracks. I would probably say you could take maybe off one or two, and have it be really really strong. But nonetheless, this is probably one of my favorite modern Choirboy albums. And even the new album, Wardour Street, that was really good. That's probably that album, the newest album, is probably up there as well for the modern era of Choirboys. But this is right here though too. Home Records and Heartbreakers, really good. If you like anything, this is a good combination of, say, the first two albums, Bittersweet and Twisted, and also a bit of What You Fancy. Combine those two with, say, This Is Rock and Roll, the 2001 album when they reformed. That's what this is here. You got enough of that modern feel, enough of that modern production, I guess, if you will, just that modern sound a little bit. But it's still Spike. You still know it's Choirboys authentic, and it just has that soul in it, And we don't have to go into the drama of how this version of the Choirboys split up and stuff, but like at the end of the day, the Choirboys will always be Spike and his voice. Like that is always going to be London Quireboys, the Queerboys, or the Choirboys, no matter which way you slice it, or what version of the band it is. Spike is, as much as you kind of don't want to say that, because like the singer isn't always the band, but man, like at just how authentic his voice is, and just how memorable, and just that is the brand. That is the Choirboys brand. So I don't, you kind of have to have Spike in the Choirboys to make, I think, any fan of the Choirboys interested.
Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong?
And that was kind of what was going on when they kind of broke up and stuff. But I'm glad that Spike got Nigel and some of the other boys together, original boys, and got this last album out here, this most recent album out here. So quite happy about that. So guys, check out Choirboys, Home Wreckers, and Heartbreakers. Awesome modern album for the Choirboys. Check it out, guys. We have our own Krash Kourse Metal Show merch. This is the t-shirt here, the unisex shirt. It is 100% ring spun cotton, fits very nicely. Now we also have in the store, we have a zip up hoodie as well. As you can see on the back, it does have the logo, the Krash Kourse logo. Wear it big, wear it proud. And then we also have your standard hoodie here. So both of these hoodies here are 50% cotton and 50% polyester. So there will be not hardly any shrinkage, if at all. Shout out again to Integral Merch Services. And if you guys can pick up any merch, I would greatly appreciate it. And that helps the channel out so much. And like always, guys, stay out of that collateral damage. All right. So for our final choice here, we have Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy.
What is going on?
So yes, this is the sixth studio album, and the only original guy is Axl Rose. Yes, and now you're probably saying though too at the same time, oh, how is this a forgotten album? It's Guns N' Roses first of all, and second of all, it did go platinum. But I remember when this came out. Like I said, 2008, so I was roughly 16, and I remember the lead up because I started really getting into music and collecting music when I was about 13, 12 or 13. And I remember the lead up to this because that kind of reminds me of I pulled out here. This was one of my first CDs that I ever bought, which was the Greatest Hits Guns N' Roses, 2004 or 2005. This came out because originally Chinese Democracy was supposed to come out in 2004. And then I think Geffen just was like, okay, we're not we're not messing around here. We're not waiting another 15 years for you to release this album, so we're gonna put this Greatest Hits out. And that's kind of how I came across that. Uh, Brand new. I remember it was like in Walmart and shit. So I picked it up, and that was when I was really starting to find where I was, like where I was calling home as far as hard rock and metal and just music in general. So yeah, and then, and then so about this album though here, Chinese Democracy. I I get why people don't like this album, but I had to say, and I 100% agree. Like when it first came out, it was kind of shocking as far as like, wow, this is Guns N' Roses. People didn't really want to give it a chance, or I get that. I get that because at the end of the day, everyone wants to hear Appetite for Destruction again, or Use Your Illusions, even to a lesser extent. But to me, I never. I have to say I didn't buy this when it came out. I certainly remember because I heard a few songs and I wasn't a fan of it either. Like Shackler's Revenge. I remember hearing that. I guess that was leaked or was one of the singles. I can't remember, but either way, I heard that and I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?" And I still don't like that song to this day. Um, and I think that's and even like the title track, I still don't really care for to this day. So like that's kind of maybe why I kinda stayed away from it for the most part, but I remember, like, 10 years ago, I was in, like, some kinda consignment shop or he had, like this guy had, like, all kinds of records and CDs and stuff like that, and I remember I came across this, and he had, like, 5 copies of this used, and it was, like, $8, and I was like, "Oh, I mean, I'll still get it, it's still cool, it's double vinyl, like for $8, like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I'll pick it up even if I only like one song or don't like it. It's still cool to have. So that's how I ended up picking it up. And it is just the normal black vinyl here, as you can see. But man, that kind of opened up the door though to me listening to this because I ended up finding it's actually still sealed, as you can see here from FYE. They had like some kind of sale or going out of business sale or just wanted to get rid of this album sale. And it was like $3. So I thought, you know what? I have it on vinyl, and I might as well get it on CD too for $3. What the hell? So, but first things first, when you look at the cover, I still don't like the cover. I still don't get the cover. Like, yeah, okay, it's a Chinese bike and box, basket weave, or I guess I get what he's trying to get at here, but for Guns N' Roses, you kind of have to catch my attention a little bit more than this. It's still not very. When I'm listening to this album, I'm like, oh, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to look at the back. I don't want to look at the inside here. Like, what are we doing here, Axl? As much as I like this album now, what are we doing here, Axl? I don't know what's going on here. And also, too, I wanted to mention that you had a revolving door of musicians here on this album, including like Buckethead on guitar, because this was originally supposed to be released in 1999, and it didn't come out till finally like 9 years later in 2008. They kept pushing the date back 2004, 2007, 2008 eventually. And, that it just, you kind of hear that. Now, some of the things were that, oh, some songs were leaked or the revolving door of musicians, what have you, and just the production time of things. just kept pushing back, and Axl wanted to be perfect apparently, and I get that. I do get that, but at the same time, we're talking 15 years almost in between, or more than 15 years since Use Your Illusions, the last true album from Guns N' Roses. So, and don't count that covers Spaghetti Incident bullshit. If you release a covers album, that's not an album to me. That's just you just doing some side shit and lazy, in my opinion. So, okay, this is also so much to talk about this album. This album here was one of the certainly, I don't know if it's still the record, but it was one of the most expensive albums ever created to produce, to make. In today's terms, 2025 terms, it's around $22 million. I read. So yeah, this certainly doesn't sound like $22 million. I like it, but let's not go over 2 million here, guys. If that. So yeah, you would have to imagine somewhere along the line someone lost money here on this album, even though it did go platinum, like I said, which is crazy. But that just shows you like how big Guns N' Roses were at the time that when they were popular in the golden era of hair metal, and then also too like 15 years plus years later, they're still creating this buzz and just with Axl really only as well. So they're still creating this buzz. The Guns N' Roses name is still creating this buzz to sell platinum within the first week or so. Um, but yeah, I think this. So let's go into it. Let's talk about the songs actually here. So, like I said, the first two tracks, the title track and Shackler's Revenge, I agree with you guys. This is not a good way to a first impression for someone that hasn't heard you for 15 or plus years. So I agree. Like that does not get the album. That does no one any favors. These first two songs. But I think this is where it gets strong, though. The middle of this album is really, really good. You move on to track number 3, Better, which I think they did have a music video for. I love this song. This is probably the best song on the album. Certainly, I would throw this song up on against anything on Use Your Illusion 1. Honestly, especially if we're taking production from 1991 as well, instead of this like weird, you know, feel, because you get a lot of different feels on this album, and that doesn't help it either. It certainly sounds like it should have came out in 1999. I will say that. Even 2008 might be a little late to the party for what this kind of sounds like. And also too, you got to be kind of a fan. Even though Buckethead only gets credited with like a couple songs on this album, you certainly I certainly hear his fingerprints on a lot of these songs. And I like Buckethead. So, but if you don't like Buckethead or like his style, like his solo stuff and stuff, you probably kind of have a hard time of getting into this album as well. So you got Better. Great. There's 2 solos in that song, and each solo is absolutely great. And you got Street of Dreams, which is a ballad, really good. Man, There Was a Time, Catcher in the Rye. Sorry, another good song. IRS was cool. I think that actually reached when that got leaked. I think that actually reached like the top 50 in on like a Billboard chart or whatever for radio. And it's like, and it was just leaked, and then obviously they had to call it back or whatever. But that's crazy to think about, and it's a good song. Madagascar is damn good. This I Love. Like, there's some good ballads. Like, Axl Rose's voice and vocals on this album, melodies, is really good. Like, give it a chance. Like I said, this middle part of the album, there's 14 tracks on here. Yes, that's way too much. Cut it down to 11. Cut 3 of these out. Like I said, cut the first 2 out and maybe Prostitute or, Scrap maybe. Cut 3 out somewhere. You certainly cut 3 songs out of this and make it a stronger album. But yeah, I like talking about this album. I like listening to this album. Like I re-listened to it the other day for this video, and I'm like, man, this is such a good album, and it just got forgotten, or just not. It did get forgotten because there was a decent amount of people that knew this came out and bought it, but they just made so many copies and just had so much, and the hype was real on this, and it just did not do anything. It didn't sell. It wasn't Use Your Illusion 3, guys. So yeah, that I will admit. But if you look past those first couple songs on this album, and also kind of with an open mind as well, like don't be expecting Appetite for Destruction. No one wants. Well, I'm sure many people want Appetite for Destruction too. I get that. I understand that, but I like this. I mean, I'll take this. This is fine. Like, I think Axl really shines on a lot of these songs on here, and I'll take that. Um, Not saying that I don't want an Appetite for Destruction too, but with the way that son of a bitch gets so played out with like half the album, I'm just like, I don't need to hear anything Guns N' Roses again. And I actually look forward to listening to something like this, because it's fresh and it sounds different, So guys, please check out Chinese Democracy. So the three songs. Check out Better. That is the first one you need to check out. And then also too, if you want something ballady, do Street of Dreams or uh, This I Love, maybe. Because there's some ballads in here that have some great piano, like right up there with November Rain and such like that. Like Axel's still doing his thing over here, but it's just not with the rest of the boys from the original era. So that's why it kind of, I think another reason why people kind of just like push us to the side as well. And then for the last one, check out IRS. I always enjoyed that song. Even when I wasn't the biggest fan of this album, I did enjoy IRS, the song. Not the actual IRS. And the Fed. Fuck them. So, all right, guys, that is the three albums here for 2008 that I think are just totally forgotten or just unknown. So the first one here is Chinese Democracy. Certainly the biggest one that got forgotten and just gets pushed aside for whatever reason. Next one is Homewreckers and Heartbreakers from Choirboys. And then we had the Young Boys, or they were Young Boys at the time, I would say, compared to the rest of these, the other two choices here. Johnny Burning, Get Up, Get Loose, and Get Off. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these three albums, and also too, let me know about what 2008 was for you guys. It was a weird time, but I think the renaissance was happening for hair metal. It was starting to get appreciated more, and you saw like with Johnny Burning and Crash Diet and everyone, Veins of Jenna, like you seen it coming back and being respected from the young and the old, but maybe not so much the old to the young though, sadly. But that's for a different topic for a different time. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay out of that collateral damage. And if you guys enjoyed this video, check out the whole Forgotten Album series right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.